How's it going, everybody? My name is Rinzler here, back again for another video, and welcome back to my Tim Burton series. So today we are going to be going from the 20th century to the 21st century for the first time in this series. We're going to be talking about his early 2000s hit, Big Fish. Now, Big Fish, I don't really know how to describe the genre of this movie. It's funny at times, it's dramatic at other times, it's fantastical at other times, it's romantic at occasions. It's just like, it's kind of like Batman Returns, how it juggles all these different genres in one movie, so you can't really classify it as any one thing. That's sort of what Big Fish is. Now, if you haven't seen Big Fish yet, then what are you waiting for? Go and watch that movie before you watch this video, or stick around and help me grow, whatever you want to do. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about why I think Big Fish is such a great movie and is definitely worthy of the Tim Burton Greats collection. So without further ado, why is Big Fish so great? So first, the premise of this movie is that a known storyteller named Edward Bloom is on his deathbed. He recalls many incredible stories of his youth to his daughter-in-law about meeting and befriending giants, finding a perfect secret town in the woods, working in the circus, meeting the love of his life, and serving in the Korean War where he met conjoined twin singers. These stories are all quite exaggerated. I mean, when he says, "When you see the woman you love, time stands still," and then the world around him literally freezes, it's pretty damn cool and funny, in my opinion. And honestly, I think that scene is probably the most eye-popping of the entire movie. But this does kind of create a problem because, as while Edward's stories amuse people, they anger his son Will. Will is tired of hearing false truths about his father's past, because think about it, he's a kid and he's been hearing these stories his entire life, and he's pretty sure that none of them are real. So he's becoming more and more irritated and withdrawn from his dad, and he doesn't actually talk to him for 3 years because of this. He's tired of hearing false truths and wants to know who the real man is, the real guy who raised him. He wants to know. Now, it's easy to take sides here. On one hand, you can think of Edward's son as a stick in the mud with no imagination or patience. On the other hand, you might understand where Will's coming from, wanting to know more about what his father was really like before he dies. His constant storytelling makes it difficult to be able to see if he's telling the truth or not. We, the audience, are led on to believe that everything wonderful that Edward supposedly did in his lifetime was the truth, and that his son just hasn't seen all these amazing wonders yet. But the ending is actually very different. Instead, it's confirmed by Edward's doctor to his son that Edward had been on a business trip, selling household goods in Wichita instead of catching the biggest fish in the pond using a wedding ring as bait, as he'd been saying for years. The doctor then stresses the importance of using your imagination from time to time. When Edward lays dying, he begs his son to tell the story of him going to the river. His son finally understands what his father means and goes on to tell a story of him rescuing his father from the hospital and bringing him to the lake where all of his fantastical friends from his life are there to see him go. Before being laid to rest in the water and becoming the same fish that he supposedly caught using a wedding ring all those years ago. As his story finishes, Edward dies, and at his funeral, everyone from his story shows up, except that they're all more realistic. Instead of a giant, he's just a taller guy. Instead of conjoined twins, they're two separate twins. Stuff like that. This movie teaches you that imagination and adventure can be good and lead to parts of your past seeming more exciting than they actually were, but it also stresses the importance of not overlooking the grim reality of things in life. Edward did go to war. He did get beat up by a rival of his. He did work in the circus for 3 years, and he did almost have an extramarital affair. Imagination has its place sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. That's why I like this movie so much. It keeps you guessing and wondering what's real and what's not. Edward's death is very sad, but also leaves you optimistic to try and have an adventurous life of your own and tell your own stories to your friends and family, because there's a lot of big fish to catch. And that's why Big Fish is so great. It's imaginative and creative, it's wonderful. But it also shows that while life can get hard, imagination is something for everyone. And I mean everyone. Also, applause to Danny Elfman for once again bringing one of Tim Burton's movies to life. I cannot imagine this movie without Danny Elfman's music in it. Honestly, this movie is quite a bit different from all of Tim Burton's other movies. This movie is not necessarily dark. It's very lighthearted and chipper with darker themes to it. Like the realization that maybe his stories aren't true, but they also could be true. And then learning in the end that his stories were probably true, but just a little bit exaggerated. You know, things like that. I think that this is a movie worth rewatching. Even though the ending, as predicted, is incredibly sad, it is really sad to hear the main character, the narrator, Edward Bloom, dying at the end of the movie. It is really sad because over the course of the movie, you really grow to like the guy, and typical to Tim Burton formula, the ending of the movie is really, really sad. Tim Burton is really great at having sad endings to movies that also, in part, can make you feel optimistic about your future. And this movie does just that. This movie inspires me to create stories of my own and have a stronger imagination, but to also come to terms with the realities and cold hard truths of life. And, just thinking that all of my friends and my family could be there when I die, just like they were for him in the movie. I just think that that's a great, that's something great to look forward to. I mean, not dying, but just being appreciated. Anyway, I'm going in a weird direction, so I'm just gonna end the video here, guys. If you enjoy this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, share this video with all of your friends on all of your various social media platforms. Remember to ring that notification bell and let me know in the comments down below what you liked and didn't like about this video, and I'll see all you dudes and chicks in the next video.